Shalom, everyone. We wanted to speak to you for a few minutes. We had attempted to do a live stream broadcast, but we're having connection problems, and it's not just a matter of being able to hardwire, but to hardwire for live stream, it takes settings on the camera, and for some reason they're not connecting. So our son David is going to stay up here and see if he can get this to where he can post it this evening, about 30 minutes, giving you an update. We're going to talk about three things. One will be the storm in general and all the flooding that was associated with Harvey. And I know you've seen the television weather channel, all the newscasts and everything, so we won't go into a lot of detail on that. We're going to talk about the situation here at our office and what's happening, and where we go from here, what we do, and then thirdly, we want to speak about the impending storm that will be hitting Puerto Rico and possibly other places, and just speak about that for a few minutes. I think everybody's probably familiar with Debbie, and most of you are with Yael, our youngest daughter, and here is our oldest grandchild. This is Alexia, and she is living with us. We have my son Jacob and his family arrived, about 6:30, 6 o'clock.
A couple of hours ago.
They were forced to evacuate, had to leave very quickly. They just got out from their apartment, and they got back in and are staying with us until they get electricity back at their place. So we want to first thank everyone for all of your prayers, not only for us, but for all the people that were affected from Louisiana all the way down to southern Texas, Corpus Christi, and Rockport, Port Aransas, those that were affected by the flood. We want to thank you for your support of everyone and your prayers. And there's been so many tragic stories, but there's been so many miraculous stories. And one of the things I think everybody is impressed with, and it's impressed and encouraged us, is the attitude of the people in the midst of the storm. I mean, it's like, I'm not speaking about us, I'm talking about, you see everywhere people helping and people having a tremendous attitude. And Debbie, you want to add anything?
I think it's not just a Texas thing, but I think seeing people helping, hands reaching out and reaching out to other people, I feel like, one of the things that hit me is that our mamas just taught us well. I think we just had mamas that told us, you just do the neighborly thing. And so we're seeing a lot of this across Texas, and I'm just very pleased. Of course, there is some misbehavior, but as a whole, we hear the good stories. And after all this devastation, isn't it nice to hear good things about people? For a change, to hear a good report about something. Now, as Joe mentioned, we're doing actually quite well. We weathered the storm very well. The ministry, on the other hand, has experienced some problems, and we will discuss that a little bit more later, but we're thankful, and we don't want to take from resources that really need to help other people that are in a much worse situation than we are. There are people that have lost their homes. There are people that have not been able to return to their homes yet. Until a few days ago, we couldn't even reach one son's apartment unless we went by boat. And we found out yesterday that, or I think the day before yesterday, that you could actually drive on those roads. And so there are a lot of miracles, but seeing, these groups that have come in, the volunteers to help, it's just been an amazing thing. We're just quite blessed, and we want to be thankful that Hashem has protected us, He's preserved us, and that He's looking after everyone, and that if there are some of us who are blessed, we need to help those who have lost more than we have. So.
Let me go to the talk about our situation here. We did not have wind damage here or really in our community. I measured the rainfall that we had at our house, and it was a little bit over 50 inches. And but the way that it worked, we have excellent drainage system here, and we had where it would rain, we might have 8 or 10 inches fall, and then it would drain off, and then it would come back, and then when the storm actually started coming in on us, I'm going to guess we had maybe 20 inches fall at that time. And while many people's houses went underwater, none of us got water in our homes. Now the office, I actually came down to here way past the time that I should have been on the roads. They were telling people, do not try to get out in your car, but we had our Torah was down here. We had moved it. Very first thing I think that we did move
it was the first thing
Torah.
that came to our house.
Yes, and but we were having constant tornado warnings, and so we were having to take refuge. We're right on the coast, so the idea of a cellar is you don't have that here. So we had taken refuge.
We were amused that with all these reports of the storms coming in, the little line, a crawl line that went on the Weather Channel, it was seek shelter, go into your cellar immediately. And I can't think of anybody in the Gulf Coast that has a cellar. You know,
right.
It's unheard of. It's impossible.
So we had retreated to one of the smaller bathrooms that didn't have any windows, but we became concerned for the Torah, which was in a bedroom. It was laying on a bed. There was a window in the room. And we had a plastic container that we had stored it in before we had an ark, until it was moved down here. So I came to get that big plastic bin. When I came in, immediately I knew that the building was taking water. It was not coming in through the doors.
In other
words,
words,
from the floodwaters rising.
We did not have flooding. There probably was some flooding in here. We can't really tell because we know a lot of the other businesses on the street took in water from the flood. But
if it was nominal. What we had in this, our building has two sides. This is wood side, but down by the doors, over the windows and the door, there were leaks that were coming in. It was coming a steady stream. Now, we have water running along both of the walls that go the length of the building. The middle, at that point, was fairly dry. However, the dampness, the carpet was quickly becoming saturated. On our other side, it was much worse. Now, we can't take the camera over there and show you, but this is where David's office is, where he does not only all the video production, he films in here, but he does the production of editing and so forth in an office on the other side. Plus, we have literally 10,000 or more hours. I don't know how many it would be, but this is going to be of television programs, conferences, Chavurah being filmed. We had CDs, we had 3/4 inch, even 1 inch tapes going back to the early 90s. And all of that was archived in there. This is material that we use. We upload to the Jerusalem Temple Studies. Some we have available on our catalog, and we convert it into DVD or CD or MP3, and people either purchase or they download. And so all of that was in danger. His office, literally the ceiling tiles were falling at a certain point in his office. There was water that was probably about 1 inch deep. Now this is before the major part of the storm. This is while the storm hasn't made landfall yet. And we already had 1 inch of water in his office. Now, coming on down, there's a couple small offices that did not take a lot of damage, but our prayer room we call it the Beit Tefillah. This is where we have shacharit services each Shabbat, and we have an ark for the Torah. We have a bima. We had ceiling tiles had collapsed in that room. One of the places, we didn't realize this until after the storm was over, you could actually look through and see daylight from the roof. Now the roof here is one of these old, it's an old building, early 1900s, and it has a flat roof that you put the tar on. It's a really large building. And so at this point, by the time I got to the end, we had 12 separate leaks coming into the building. In the Beit Tefillah, in the prayer room, the water was maybe an inch to inch and a half deep. But it wasn't hitting the ark. It wasn't hitting the bima.
It never hit the ark. It never hit the bima, but it was pooling on the floor. And, you know, I think one of our sons said it, I think, better than anybody else, and it's David. He said, well, Mom, you realize that a couple of swimming pools worth of water was just dumped on that ceiling.
Yeah, and they've had problems with
the roof just couldn't handle that kind of stress. You know, there was an awful lot of water, more water than we have seen in a single 24-hour period, I think, in our lifetime. It was an incredible amount of rain.
Well, in Debbie's office, which is where she, once that the products are put together, whether they're books or DVDs, CDs, the monthly Chavurah, she ships it out from that room. And that's where we had everything stored, all of the merchandise that we had. And while this room and a couple other places where we duplicate the DVDs, we actually in-house produce the books on the copy machine, and then we bind them. We have different binding machines. We cut them and so forth. That's mostly done in this room, except for the copying. Her office had the most damage. 3 places the ceiling tiles had collapsed in. We had one of these big gray tough coat garbage cans that I put it underneath the worst leak, and we had it was, I'm going to say, 50 to 60% full of water when we came back in. The carpet has been ripped out of this room, but in David's office and the prayer room, but
and the hallway,
and the hallway,
which was pretty saturated as well.
We can't find anything. Everything is scattered everywhere. There were 4,000 books between the two sides here. And one of the miracles is that not one of the books that were on the shelves got a bit of water. We found one book that was not a book that we would probably even have kept, and it was on the floor behind the door in Debbie's office, and it had taken damage. That's the only casualty that we have book-wise.
It's not a book that we value either,
right.
But no, rain did not fall on the books, and the books were not sitting close to the floor where they could take on water, so the books were safe, at least from the initial onslaught of the rain. The thing is, once we came in to assess the building and see the damage, it became clear to us that we could not keep them in that environment.
Right.
The smell was already hitting us. I think it was a little early for mold to begin, but I know the beginning stages of it were starting, and we felt that it was imperative to get the library boxed up. And that's at first what we thought we would do, is to get the library taken care of. Then, before the weekend, it dawned on me, I think I told Yael, these books might have to stay in crates for quite a while because we cannot put them back on the shelves until the shelves have been remediated. And then I think it hit us that they might not be able to remediate these shelves. It could be a while before we can actually access a lot of the library. And by the way, when we did crate things up, we were trying to take some precaution on putting things in there to keep them dry. I'm still working on getting a product in here to put in all of the crates so that they can be protected while they are sleeping, so to speak. You know, so
we had most of the bookcases had to be destroyed. They are out back along with the carpet.
Yeah, the furniture.
Yeah, most of the furniture. had to be done, and we're still working on that. But we, at this point, the building we're not going to be able to stay in the building. It is.
And the landlord is not doing anything to kick us out. We just realize that with the odors, with the carpet, and who knows what's going on these walls, we're trying to do everything we can to protect it and to isolate, problems, and to spray an antiseptic, an anti-mold formula all over things. But at the same time, we realize we can't have our people working in this environment. We cannot keep electronics in this environment, and we certainly cannot bring the books back in this environment.
And the roof will not be fixed.
We don't know when
soon.
or even if
It'll
the
be a
roof
while.
can be fixed.
Yeah.
So we're sharing something with you before our landlord even knows what's going on. He actually took water on in his house and had to evacuate. He still does not know the state of things here, and of course, everybody in this area is going to be needing contractors or builders, or it's widespread in this area, and so we cannot demand the attention that needs to go elsewhere.
We've had a number of people that have come in to help us, and we appreciate it. It has been a godsend. People, we're getting texts, we're getting calls, just an untold amount of these. But everybody asks one thing: what can we do to help? And so let me give you some things. The main thing that we need, Debbie and I, is to hear from God. So that's what we're praying for. We're praying for a specific request on a building. We're praying to have wisdom, that God would give us wisdom in understanding what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and just to get us back up operational as soon as possible. Today, Debbie shut down the store because she cannot process orders. We can't duplicate the DVDs or the CDs. We cannot produce the books, and I think you probably have an announcement coming about that.
Yes, I was going to say that we have shut down the store, and because I don't even know where a lot of the equipment is to refurbish our supplies. Now, I did want to say that there is something people can do to help if you're long distance. If you're listening to this broadcast, very possibly you are already a member of the JerusalemTempleStudy.com site. And a lot of the materials that we take to conferences, a lot of the materials that we sell from our office are already uploaded onto that site. And so, first of all, I'd suggest that if you are a member, this might be a way you could help, and I'll explain how. If you're not a member, you might want to consider, even if it's a limited time, to access that site so that you can download some of the materials you would like to have. Now, if you're already a member, perhaps you know somebody who would like to have something like, The Gathering or whatever, 8-volume set, and they cannot get it through the store. Well, maybe you could make them a set of DVDs, gift it to them, and just suggest that they might send a little small donation or something to the ministry. And that's not even necessary. The main thing is we want to get the information out to people. Now, also, we have been working quite a bit. Actually, we were using some of our downtime during the rain and the storm, working on final editing of the Rosh Hashanah book. I have to say that there are two people that I felt really bad for today. One is Darren Huckey, tremendous graphic artist, does some beautiful work on some of our inserts, or I think he's done a wonderful job. He designed this amazing book cover for the Rosh Hashanah book, and we were so excited about having the book and having that new cover, that new look on it. Also, Teresa Casalina up in Pennsylvania has been, I don't even want to think about how many hours she's put in on this. I mean, it's unbelievable the amount of time she's put in on final editions. And we made a couple of little corrections here and there. Basically, same material, but, it's been tweaked somewhat. I talked to Teresa today, and I dreaded to tell her, but I said, there's no way. We cannot print this book and get it ready before Rosh Hashanah. It's just not going to happen. Maybe we need to concentrate our efforts on making it an e-book. But of course, with our store down, that becomes a little bit of a problem also. And Teresa has been inquiring with other ministry leaders, and she's found a solution. And I think we might be able to get this book up very soon without us having to print, where it can, people can order it. It'll be basically through Amazon, can purchase the book. The ministry will later get, whatever proceeds we get, and people can have the book printed in a hard copy that will be mailed from one of the Amazon companies. This can even be done from overseas, in some countries. Now, I do not know when this is going to be available. We will try to post this up, but I urge you to keep an eye out on us for this information. And then Teresa has also explained that they could eventually turn this into a Kindle form so that it could be turned into an e-book of sorts. And of course, Rosh Hashanah and the Messianic Kingdom to Come will be the first book that we do this with. But we can eventually do all the books in this fashion, to where people can get them in a timely fashion and not have to be dependent upon us producing or publishing the book ourselves. So that's the second thing on that. But anything you want to add on as far as the office or?
Well, just we thank you for your prayers. We thank you for the many, many ways so many people have helped us. And I want to switch now to talking about the people in Puerto Rico who are in immediate danger. And a lot of these people are our friends, close friends. And I spoke to Walter Augusto yesterday morning. He is the pastor of the congregation that I've done a temple conference there, as well as we have been to speak, for his congregation. And everybody knows about Irma, 175 mile an hour winds, a gust up to like 190 mile an hour winds, 205 even, I heard. Gust. Yeah, they say if it reaches 200 miles an hour sustained winds, they're going to make a Category 6, but it'll be the first time in history. Now that is a big enough storm to just level a big building, and we have other friends there on the island. Please be praying for them.
Some of the most wonderful Torah observant, giving people. And I say giving not just because they have given to us, but because they give of themselves. That is their nature. They do this with their pastor, with other people in their congregation, to the community in Puerto Rico. It's just a lovely place. And we really want to pray that they would be protected, not just the individuals we know, but the entire island. And as far as we go, all of the Virgin Islands, the Caribbean, and all of the islands that are at risk at this point, because it's bad. Yes, and let's not forget Florida.
Right.
Because they are in danger as well. And
at this point, we don't even know if it's going to be an East Coast thing or a Gulf of Mexico thing.
Yeah, we're just been told we don't know whether, And,
but be praying.
Well, and as long as we're there, let's go ahead and say that, yes, we've got this problem going. We've got friends involved in this area. We're very concerned about our friends in Puerto Rico. We're concerned about our friends in Florida. But let's not leave out the people that are endangered by the fires that are going up in Montana, Oregon, parts of California. And, there's this... It's kind of strange, that we have this
turmoil.
Part of the country is on fire and another part is waterlogged. It's just unbelievable. But we know who we serve, and we know that He is faithful and He is powerful and that He can protect those who call upon His name.
Let me conclude this real quick because we don't want to linger on points, but we are moving from this building as soon as we possibly can. We are in the process, starting tomorrow, of moving some of the materials to a storage facility. We don't know, it's going to be day by day, as to whether we can do another broadcast, if we can get our problems worked out here for the broadcast. But please follow us on Facebook, the Jerusalem Temple Study, hatikvaministries.org, and we will try to keep you posted. Pray for us, pray for the others that are affected by this storm, and pray for those in Puerto Rico. And again, we want to say from
Thank you.
Hatikva Ministries, thank you for everything. Shalom.